good, Ninja? OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to another video. Today we have some awesome information for you guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And we are starting off with Atlus seemingly teasing Etrian Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch by saying the next stage or the next evolution of Etrian Odyssey. So Etrian Odyssey X will launch on August 2nd in Japan. This is the Nintendo 3DS title. Now, Atlus has also teased the next stage of the Dungeon RPG series in a newly released teaser video. Now, first, let's get into the message from Etrian Odyssey director Shigeo Komori. Etrian Odyssey X at last will be the 10th entry in the Etrian Odyssey series. The reason we have been able to continue the series is thanks to all of the fans who have played and supported its titles thus far. Thank you so much. And we said at the start, Etrian Odyssey X is a accumulation of the Etrian Odyssey series thus far, as well as the last Etrian Odyssey game for the Nintendo 3DS. But of course, that means the last for 3DS, and that's in quotations. Just make sure he says for 3DS. The last title for the 3DS is nothing other than the announcement of the beginning of the next stage. We are now moving quickly towards a completely new world for Etrian Odyssey series that everyone has supported thus far. We are working hard to realize this passion as quickly and properly as possible. So please continue to give us your support. So you guys are checking out the teaser trailer here as well. And I think that Etrian Odyssey, how it's going to be formulated or put over, because I think it would be the Nintendo Switch just because it's always on 3DS. I mean, maybe they put it on PS4, Xbox One, whatever the case is, but I think it would also be on Nintendo Switch. And a lot of fans are curious about this because they don't know how Atlus and the Etrian Odyssey team would handle the whole dungeon mapping mechanic, because this game, Etrian Odyssey, always used the dual screens of the Nintendo 3DS or the Nintendo DS to map out the screens on the bottom, and then you see the action on the top. But I do think, just like any other RPG that's been dual screen before, we've seen it from DS to come over to Nintendo Switch, and even something like Professor Layton, that's always been kind of like a dual screen type of mechanic, they've came over to Nintendo Switch and they find out ways, whether you toggle the screens or whether you split the screen or you just do something, they'll think of a way to make sure that you can map the dungeons just fine, or they might think of a whole new mechanic to where you don't necessarily need mapping the dungeons as much. And I know that's a big part of Etrian Odyssey, but I'm pretty sure the developers are smart enough to figure out something that'll make it work, because you can't continue to support the 3DS at this point. You have to move on, just because the 3DS is just nowhere near the Switch in terms of what it can do. The sales are obviously way more in the Switch's favor. The 3DS's day has kind of come and gone, and I think it's time to kind of move on to the Nintendo Switch. Now, when could they be announcing something? I think that's going to be the bigger story here. I think Tokyo Game Show could definitely be something to where they announce it. Tokyo Game Show is taking place in September of this year. August 2nd is when the game launches officially in Japan. So that is actually more than a month for them to kind of sell the game and get the last hurrah for the Nintendo 3DS and announce the first, like, hey, we've got Etrian Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. I think that would be a really cool announcement, or even if they have some type of special presentation later in the year to where they can announce Etrian Odyssey for the Switch. So what do you guys think about Atlus teasing the next Etrian Odyssey series seemingly for the Nintendo Switch or for HD systems? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and we're moving into the next topic here, and we have the first gameplay for Digimon Survive on the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. And guys, if you like Fire Emblem, you're probably going to like this game, Digimon Survive, because it's looking very Fire Emblem-esque. So there will be about 100 playable Digimon in the upcoming strategy RPG. So Bandai Namco has debuted the teaser trailer, first gameplay footage, and new details for Digimon Survive during its Digimon Thanksgiving 2018 live stream recently. Now, in Digimon Survive, the protagonist, Takuma Motosuka, whose name cannot be changed, is mysteriously transported from camp to another world. He and others will survive in this world at close quarters with death, with exploring and making various choices. The multi-ending story and evolutions will change based on those choices, and some characters may even die. And based on that, this is definitely trying to be a little bit more Fire Emblem-esque. So the story develops through drama parts, while turn-based strategy RPGs play out through battle parts. Evolution consumes energy. By taking to allies and enemies during battle, you can acquire energy as well as extend evolution time. There are about 100 playable Digimon. Also, unlike Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, there are essentially no sci-fi elements to Digimon Survive. Also during the livestream, Digimon Game Series producer reconfirmed that a new Digimon story is currently in development. Habu first mentioned the new Digimon story game in December 2017, so there will be another Digimon story. This is kind of something that's a little bit of an offshoot or offset what they're doing with the Digimon story games. Now, Digimon Survive is due out for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch in Japan in 2019, and you guys are checking out some of this footage as well, and it looks really good. I love the 2D hand-drawn with the 3D elements in the background. It looks slick, looks a little bit rough at times, but they're still developing it. This is definitely work in progress gameplay, but what they've shown off so far looks good. I like the animation, I like the style of it, I like how they're going for more of a Fire Emblem style of game. The strategy RPG to me actually makes it more interesting in terms of the gameplay mechanics compared to what they did with Digimon Story like the Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, which is more of a turn-based RPG. Looks good, but this one just looks a lot more appealing with the graphics and what they're trying to do, and I love me some Fire Emblem, so I like the fact that you can actually play through with the protagonist and have different type of story elements that can affect things, your choices, so kind of like the Mass Effect feel into that. That also creates replay value as well. So I'm actually really excited for Digimon Survive on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. We'll see when it comes over to the West and what systems, just because Bandai Namco and some of the other Japanese companies sometimes have this thing to where they do PS4 and Switch in Japan, and then here in the West they'll do Xbox One, PC, PS4, and also Switch. My Hero Academia is one of those games as well that kind of has that setup at this point. So I think Digimon Survive is looking good, guys. Hopefully we get some more information about a Western release soon, some more gameplay and all that, but so far so good in my opinion. So what do you guys think about Digimon Survive so far for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch and the gameplay details that they showed off? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the final topic here, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse franchise has surpassed 10 million units in sales, which is absolutely phenomenal for the Dragon Ball Z franchise. You would have never thought, let's say like 6 or 7 years ago, that a Dragon Ball subs franchise or a series of games would sell 10 million units, because the Dragon Ball Z franchise was in kind of shambles when it comes to video games, but Xenoverse brought it back. 10 million in sales, and guys, this is the whole franchise, not just one particular game. So they're counting Dragon Ball Xenoverse, the original, that was released on like a bunch of different systems, PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, whatever the case is. Then Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, the deluxe edition also as well, so the original release and the deluxe edition that they just recently released on the PS4, and then also Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for Nintendo Switch. So all of those combined have sold 10 million so in the franchise, which is very impressive. I think that's very impressive for a Dragon Ball Z game, just because, like I said beforehand, it was kind of in shambles, and now it's actually doing really well when it comes to Dragon Ball Z. We also have Dragon Ball Fighters that's killing it too. That's sold, I think, over 3 million units or right around there, and the Nintendo Switch version is right around the corner. So that's actually really cool. I have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for the Nintendo Switch. I think it's a pretty cool game. There is a ton of content, and the developers did say that they will be releasing more characters, more DLC is incoming, more background music, and just more stuff for the game. So with more sales, you get more support, which is always good to see. I actually still see a number of people playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 on the Nintendo Switch whenever I boot up my Switch system, so that's awesome. And I've seen people putting crazy amount of time and hours into this game, 400 to 500 hours playing this game, battling online, going through the story elements, and just all the content that it has. There's just so many characters. I was actually overwhelmed. I think that's the reason why I kind of stopped playing it. I have a ton of work to do on the channel here, and it was just crazy when I played the game to see how much content there is in there. It's just so much. I couldn't keep up with all the content and the story elements, the co-op, drop in and kind of just go in and play with your friends. It's just amazing. I'm very impressed with what they've done, and congratulations to Bandai Namco Namco, the Dragon Ball Z teams, for getting to where they are. Because like I said, a few years ago, I'd probably say before Xenoverse, the franchises before that, like the Raging Blast and all that crap that came out, those were horrible and nobody was buying that stuff. So it's great to see how they turned around the Dragon Ball Z franchise when it comes to video games. So what do you guys think about all the different topics here, from Atlus teasing the next Etrian Odyssey to Digimon Survive, and of course Dragon Ball Xenoverse franchise selling over 10 million units? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube Live gaming pages and consider supporting PlayerEssence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below and consider supporting PlayerEssence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you Ninja for the next video. Peace!